We ain't about to gossip, here to uplift ya. Now it's time to boss up. Hey, hey, tune in, nah, you can't miss. Making sure that you get your daily wake up list. We yelling bam, good vibes, good energy. Bam, being authentically me. Shout out Little Mo and Trinity. That's mini me. Gotta keep it in the family. Hey, your girl Tasha, YGT. Time to get it hype. Hey, this is what you need. Hey, go ahead, turn it up. This my jam. Being authentically me like bam. With your girl Tasha, hey, let's dance. Being authentically me like bam. Yeah, now it's time to get it. Time to get it. Wake up, time to handle business. Yeah, yeah, hey, now it's time to get it. Time to get it. Wake up, time to handle business. Yeah, we about to get it live with your girl Tasha. Hey, like bam. Let's go.
Okay guys, it is your girl Tasha, known to the world as Tasha Carpenter, but everybody calls me your girl Tasha because when you hang with me, what? It's like you are hanging with your girl. And my favorite word is BAM because I'm always being authentically me. Today I'm here in association with Zolif Entertainment Magazine to interview one of the dynamic leaders in the community. Now, I'm gonna let them know this is Mrs. Darlene Brown here, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm glad to have you, and you looking awesome about the silver pants too.
Girl, you know what? These are so comfortable and warm. I said, I gotta be cute, but I gotta be comfortable.
All right now, so look, everybody probably wants to know why I say that you're dynamic. And that means that we have to know the essence of Miss Darlene Brown.
Yes.
So can you share with me exactly who is Darlene Brown?
Oh, wow. You know, I'd like to start off saying I'm definitely a divine being of God, you know, and I say that not to say that others aren't. We all are. But I think that the essence of who we are lives in that space. It lives in the divine love. The divinity is within you, the love of God, the Creator. I also would say that understanding that I know my purpose and the journey of my life, which I'll share throughout this interview, which allowed me to be clear about what my purpose for being here was. And my purpose truly, I think, is embodied in what I do as a speaker, as an author, as a mother, as a trainer, as an executive coach, as a leader in the community, as a daughter. You know, I recently lost my mom. I'll talk a little bit about that. But as a sister friend, you know, in the journey of my life in terms of what I do, really sharing and healing others through the power of my words and energy that requires me to live a certain way, but it's been a journey to come to that place. And so I'm a complicated woman, I'm a busy woman. I like to say that I'm a humble woman, but truly grateful for all that I've been blessed to do in my careers, which we'll talk a little bit about my businesses that I've owned, Brown Eyes Productions, and currently Divine Empowerment, which I do a multitude of things. So yeah, I'm a well-rounded being of light and love.
Okay, well, I express my condolences for you losing your mom.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm very familiar with it because I lost my mom to the breast cancer in 2007.
Yeah.
And I know how hard it can be as we deal with the grieving process. Everyone deals with grief differently. Even when it comes to certain family members, we deal with grief differently.
Yeah.
So tell me, with losing your mom, how are you inspired to go forward? And what are you going to do in her honor?
You know, I'll share, you know, a little look at the obituary that created, you know, she was a strong woman and she cared about other people. She was a bright beacon of light to many people, not just family, but people that lived in the community, you know, people that knew her. I think what I embody of her is that I care a lot about people and I have this ability to see the light in others despite where they may be at currently, despite the challenges that they are encountering, right? Despite the pain that they may be carrying. Right now, we're doing this interview and losing her and having buried her just in December, I'm still hurting and processing those emotions. But I think it's important for me to share that. You talk about Bam being authentically me. This is me being authentically me. You talk about who am I? I'm a woman with goals and aspirations that am accountable from a business perspective, but I'm also a daughter who lost her mom and is currently hurting.
Okay.
But even in that, I'm able to still show up and share because I understand my purpose. I understand that sometimes we find purpose through pain, right? And earlier, we talked a little bit about learning.
Well, I was about to say, because you talked about what I find is that thinking about certain memories or knowing the strengths and the loved ones that we leave is some of the things that allow us to carry through. And you were sharing about your mother actually driving through the Jim Crow era.
Yes.
You want to share that a little bit
Yes,
about that?
my mother was the oldest of 12. She was the matriarch until recently. She was 6 boys and 6 girls. I'm the youngest of 4, and it's just myself and one other sibling that's alive. My mother chose to relocate from the South, Charleston, to New York back in the era of the 60s. So I guess I would think as a woman and as a woman of color and you driving back through the South, you know, your life could be in danger, right? You may not make it to your destination. So it takes a lot of courage to even desire, but what was driving her was her caring about her family and wanted to ensure that they had access to better. And since she was up north, access to better at that time in clothes and things because she worked at Learners. And so I draw that from my mom. I draw that strength. And when you talk about who I am, I embody that. I saw that growing up. In terms of her legacy, I think who I am and my purpose lends to that. You know, it's really about in your journey, not just growing and being blessed, because I think that's part of it, but seeing how you're a vessel to be a blessing. Seeing how you're a vessel through your skills, talent, knowledge to be a pathway that either empowers someone else, heals someone else, inspires someone else, gives information to someone else, supports someone else. And so that's a legacy that I live. I live that just in my purpose as a healer, as a speaker, as an educator, through Divine Empowerment, my company, but also just in everyday life, I think, right? We talk about leading and leading in the community. And I understand that leadership, while it's in the community, it's also you lead yourself first, right? So how accountable are you to you? How willing and courageous are you to do the work to heal so that you show up as the best version of yourself that you possibly can? And my mother, you know, her legacy speaks to that. She was always about improvement, you know, being better, seeing the best in others and wanting to help others be the best. But also telling it like it is, being authentic.
I know that's right. Now, you talked about Divine Empowerment. That's your business.
Yes.
And you have several things that you do. So
Yes.
what exactly is Divine Empowerment and what type of services do you provide?
So Divine Empowerment, I started in 2007 on the heels of another business I owned, Brown Eyes Productions, a production company where I did open mic poetry out of New York, born and raised in Harlem, and this was back before the internet days where you had to have a street team to have, you know, people come to your event. And I had a successful open mic poetry every Wednesday, standing room only. It was in the Renaissance area of Harlem, you know,
Okay.
Strivers Row, 139th and 8th Avenue at the Sugar Shack Cafe. If you can envision, you know, red velvet couches and, you know, exposed brick with, you know, the kitchen in the back and the collard greens and candy yams and fried chicken. It was that type of Love Jones. And I feel really honored to have been able to create something with one of my partners who still does poetry today, Brother Earl. But then God segued me, you know, in my journey, we talk about leading and learning. I learned that that was where he needed me at that time to really connect and engage with people. I've always been a business person, but also he let me see people. And then he transitioned me and said, I want you to do divine empowerment. You become what you speak. I've always been an inspirational woman. I'm an avid reader, a lifelong learner. very grounded in spirit. So I understand the purpose of anyone, the gifts of anyone is always first used to sustain your own self in your journey, but to be able to have influence and impact in your community and in the lives of others, so that thereby they become the better version of themselves. And divine empowerment is very special in the trainings that I offer as a certified emotional intelligence coach, as a executive leader and executive coach. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. The Fred Factor for customer service. These are all certifications that I have, but I'm very passionate about it, and I understand that purpose. And because of that, I understand the accountability means what's required. I have to invest in training and continuing learning and reading in order for me to be the best version of me, to myself, to my clients in business, to my family, to my friends. And so, yeah, that's what divine empowerment is all about.
All right, so now you talked about reading a couple of times. And what we do know is that on the average, when it comes to successful people, they say they read about 17 books a year.
That would be
And they
correct.
say when it comes to CEOs and executives, they do about 4 to 5 books a month. So because you are a
yes.
successful person,
Yes.
and you're a CEO and an
Yes,
executive,
absolutely.
tell me how you line up to that average.
I line up because I'm, if you were in my home, you would see I have books. I've always been an avid reader. Like right now, I'm reading about 4 books simultaneous. One that I just picked up on my trip back from Atlanta called Let Go, right? And it has a little asterisk with an I. And I will pick up a book like that because of the title that speaks to me and the work that I do, and understanding how important in the healing process we have to let things go. You know, you attended the brunch that I had recently with Kaniki Jakarta of the Write Like a Woman series from, Great Publishing. And she's the first African-American poet laureate of Alexandria. We go way back. But at that event, I talked about self-love, self-awareness, right, and self-esteem and self-care. And all of that is really rooted in the ability to let go what doesn't serve you. And sometimes that even means people. It definitely means places. It definitely means things. Because your life is a journey of growth. And as you learn through loving relationships, sometimes you get hurt. But if you have the ability to then sit in that pain, feel it, not try to suppress it, take it apart to understand what is the valuable lesson in it that I should be taking away. What is this experience supposed to teach me in a greater self-awareness about who I am, why I am, and what I'm sent here to do? And if you're able to do that through the things that I teach as a coach, you're able to let it go a lot easier, thereby being open to the light that's within you to be extended, and then to receive the light from others that's to extend it. And so that divine empowerment is all about truly teaching one to understand the power that they have through self-love and self-awareness, and then 2, healing wounds that they may not be aware that they are carrying, so that they can truly move into the space of being their very best, making the decisions for their life that support their highest good. And when you do that, by default, you're going to be a better mother, a better wife, a better friend, right? A better neighbor, a better leader, a better business owner. So, yeah.
Okay, so pop in my head question. When it comes to people who are stuck in fear or in pain, and sometimes we know what's causing the issue, but you speak into the fact that sometimes we're not able to identify what's holding us back. How does that play a part in when we see problems, we just can't figure out how to get past it, and finding out what is it, there must be something extra that's there, that's holding you there. What is your, as a coach, what do you suggest a person do to help have their own self-autopsy to identify what's causing that blockage?
Well, first of all, you have to be courageous to be 100% honest with yourself. It takes courage. And I know from a self-love perspective, I teach my clients about affirmations, the power of the spoken word, which is the slogan for divine empowerment. You become what you speak, because there's an energy that we exchange when we speak in command through the spoken word. But then what do you do with that, right? It can't always be about I'm the ish. While you are, I am great, you definitely are designed for greatness. Well, how does that show up in your day-to-day? And sometimes you have to be willing to sit with yourself courageously and own your stuff. Meaning own what you are choosing to participate in, because your life is rooted in your decision.
You talked about leadership.
Yes.
Okay. So when it comes to leadership or being a successful leader, I think reading is a part of it. But so you can't use that. We already talked about that.
Yes, we did. I gave you one book. I'll give you another one at the end.
And learning is part of that. So you can't use either of those. Give me 5 other top reasons that help a person be a successful leader.
I would think that having the ability to reinvent. And when I say reinvent, what I'm saying is life is evolution. Things change. Today we're able to do so much from a cell phone, right? We're able to have such great impact and influence using technology. That's part of evolution. Leadership has to be willing to evolve. Otherwise, you will find yourself no longer relatable. And that's why we have some businesses that are no longer in business, right?
Right.
So that's definitely one. And I would also say, as you reinvent, understanding, from an evolution, how your why shifts. Understanding that leadership is not always about being out in front, right? So it's about empowering others to become.
Absolutely.
And to be able to tap into that which is the leader within them. And you do that truly by how you see people. I believe in servant leadership, because leaders truly are being followed, but then if you're being followed, then you're thinking about what is the greater good for others.
Now, have you ever heard anyone refer to why? Because some people, you're like, why are you doing certain things? And a lot of time when you say it in just that general question, they're talking about it at a surface level. But when you look at using why as an abbreviation, what hurts you? Mm-hmm. What hurts you is your why. It helps people break down more and figure out what they really need to do to move forward.
I think, it's sometimes being in a reflective space, depending on what hurt, can be very challenging. Mm-hmm. Because, for example, in my own journey, I have experienced trauma at an early age. And that trauma, as a child, you learn how to cope with it. And the coping mechanism that you use may not be one that's taught. It may be innate to what we know as survival. That's a spiritual realm, because it's innate to who we are, the essence, right? Mm-hmm. But as you mature and grow through life, that coping mechanism that you learned from that childhood trauma, which you didn't quite understand, is still being utilized. And it doesn't apply to where you are. So you do need to understand the why and be willing to peel back the layers, because mm-hmm. there's layers to pain and there's a process to healing. I often say to my clients, you didn't get this way overnight. You won't always undo it overnight. So you have to be, one, patient with yourself, right? You have to forgive yourself. Forgiveness is key, and sometimes that just simply means that this, whatever I'm experienced or have occurred, let me find out how it serves me in a better way, because that allows you to forgive maybe the person that participated in it. Mm-hmm. And in doing that, you release and separate yourself from the emotional imagery of that trauma. It begins to dissipate with practice of reading and prayer and journaling and nature, which is healing. I talked about me going to the ocean because I'm very grounded in nature and understand water and healing of that. So when you talk about your why, yes, pain can lead you to your purpose. But having clarity in how to live in your purpose requires you to be committed to do the work.
Now, you dropped a lot of nuggets, I'll say a lot of boulders, but we're gonna take it a little bit light right now and go back and reflect on, I believe my first time, well, not my first time, but what led me to becoming acquainted with you was a community mural dedication that took place in conjunction with Mr. King Kali.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
And you were there and you delivered an encouraging message, quote unquote, don't be a dream chaser, be a dream maker.
Anything you're chasing is running from you. And I live in the space of abundance. That what I desire to create in this earthly realm, I draw to me and it is already here. Don't allow yourself to dream and believe what you dream you can achieve. Know it, be willing to do the work, be willing to commit. Understand that if you pray and ask God to send you the right and righteous people that are supposed to assist to support you in this space, for this time, for a reason, maybe a season, that you're open to receive them. So when you connect with people, you're not connecting from a place of fear, but from a place of abundance, and that it's okay to share because we win together. So that's what I mean. Be a dream maker, and you make your dreams your reality by living from a place of light. And when you're open in that way of love energy, you attract other dreamers. And together you get to collaborate to make not just your dreams the reality, but their dreams.
So speaking of that, attracting people, finding people who are not chasing their dreams, but they're making their dreams come true. During that event, you connected, or the two were attracted to each other. A director from Syracuse, New York.
Yes.
Mr. Shamrock Dancel.
Yes.
And just tell me, with that connection or that attraction happened there between you, what was your first impression of Mr. Dancel?
I think my first impression was because I look at what people show up to do, I'm always open. And so, in being open, I'm going to go over and introduce myself, have a conversation, find out who you are, what you do, share a little bit about who I am, what I do. And so it's a process of me being open. And when I met him, saw what he was doing and got to talk to him and was like, hey, let me share some information. Let me, I've been in the production, I've produced film, and started to just share, just genuinely through conversation. And I think that's because I live from a space of being open, understanding that you attract who you are. So if I start my day from a space of gratitude, light, and love, I ask for what I want, and then I go out with the intent to be open to receive it, understanding that no man or woman is an island. It takes a team. Collaboration and partnerships are necessary for being successful in life, not just in business. I'm raised in the Bronx. Boogie down, shout out, hip hop. I grew up on that. But I remember the days when we could have our neighbor ask for a cup of sugar.
So the exchange of information that you guys had happened before you delivered
Yes,
Don't Be a Dream Tracer. So from that, your dialogue with him, also seeing you up on stage that day, the call was made to you to ask you to be a part of the upcoming release of the movie,
that's right.
Hidden Secrets.
Yes.
How did it feel when you found out that you were getting called?
Well, I was very excited. I was like, wow, but then again, I was like, this is how God works, right? If you're open and you don't judge and you lead with light and love and you see good in others and you're not there like, I have to compete, we're here to share. Your success is my success is your success. God shows up like that. So I was, one, excited, two, humbled, grateful for the call, the opportunity to be in the film, and just like, wow, to me, it's another opportunity to share with someone. This is how, when you show up with that space of light and love and the right energy, this is how it shows back up in your life.
All right. Well, I cannot wait to see the movie coming out.
Yes, me too.
Excited.
Make sure you stay tuned. You're going to be seeing little hints coming from my page. So if you haven't already, I want to make sure you stay connected with me on social media. I'm on IG, Darlene Brown. I'm on Facebook, Darlene Brown. You go to my website, divineempowerment.org. I'm doing a lot of work with other industries out there. I'm doing a collaborative project with 1E16 Global, who has the MOCA. It's Mastery of Corporate Achievement. It's a summit that we're going to be launching annually, so you'll see a lot of stuff coming out about that. So I'm really excited about the projects. I have Divine Discussions with Darlene podcast that's going to be launching.
All right.
So lots of stuff.
Okay, so now as we wrap it up, let me just ask you, what type of words of wisdom would you like to share?
That you do consistently that allow you to support your highest self. For me, I get up very early. I make sure that I start my day with prayer and journaling. I have a little altar. Sometimes I light incense. I'm into earth, so I have crystals and stones. I may sage. I'll sit down and have a cup of hot water with lemons or lime. Then I might, go and exercise, So I live my life in a disciplined way in that way so that what I desire to show up has the opportunity. When we are in this hectic rushing, and I used to be that way, as I matured, I begin to understand I control my time. I control how this thing works, not the other way around. I'm living life. Life isn't living me, right? I'm experiencing this thing. So how do I want to show up in my day? And how do I want to show up in my life for me and in my relationships? And I began to see my power and my ability to make choices that supported that. And it's all going to be coming back to your choices and having the courage to make the best choices for you, regardless of what other people will say, regardless of their perspective, because they will have one, and that's okay. But you know why you're doing it. You're doing it so you can be the best you that you can be. You deserve it. God created you to be that. I believe you can become it, but you have to believe that first. You know what you truly need. Have the courage to confront it, and then you will have the power to overcome it. It is truly a blessing for me to be able to sit here and share this with her audience and with you. And I know this to be true from the transformative lessons in my own journey and the courage it took for me to confront the trauma from my childhood and pain, to heal that, to get back in the right space with God so that I can truly go forward, to make those tough decisions, to let some people go and love them from a distance as they are on their journey, but to know that I have to be committed to being the best person I can be for Darlene in order to fulfill the purpose that I'm here for. So I had to heal. So this is what I would share with you. I hope it inspires you. Definitely want you to stay connected and look out for the film Hidden Secrets and all the other projects that God has allowed me to do, the visions He's given me. I look forward to seeing your success and what you're doing and the visions that God has given you. Make sure you are a dream maker, not a dream chaser. I'm Darlene Brown. Thank you so much, Tasha, for having me.
You are not closing out this interview. I am in charge of this interview.
Yes, she is.
So, I like that what you said. Have the courage to confront it, and then you'll have the power to overcome it. Love it. Going to have to note that one and use that again later on. Now, in knowing this, you and your spirituality, how you connect with yourself, how you're a woman of God, I think it kind of lines up with some things. Because I'm going to tell you, every time that someone comes on one of our shows, because we also associate with a company called Vida Divina.
Vida Divina.
And in Spanish, that means divine life.
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
divine empowerment, divine life. And I'm going to tell you, usually when people come on, what I do is I share with them this tea divina, which is a detox tea, right? That helps to reset your full body. So usually they leave with this. Sometimes they might leave with a box of coffee too, because we have this coffee called Tonkat Ali that people use. But I'm telling you, for you, because of how I know that you're connected, divine empowerment, divine life, being a woman of God, and how powerful you are, I'm doing something I've never done with anyone else. Okay. First of all, we already shared with you earlier the liquid.
Yes, amazing.
You fell in love with that.
I was like, yes, I want it. I said before, I'm getting it. When you have good quality, and I put some on my skin, and oh my goodness.
So we got that. But I just happen to have this in the vehicle, and my heart says, instead of doing what we normally do, because I see you as being special.
Thank you.
I'm going to gift you with Factor Divina.
What?
Which is actually a superfood drink.
What?
To help nourish your body.
Okay.
And it has noni in it.
Noni, I know about.
All
yes.
these great things inside of it. But one thing, the reason why I'm giving you this too, is that in Divine Life, we're not just calling it Divine Life. Every one of our products has a different Bible verse on it. Okay.
Wow. Let's see.
It references. So if you had the tea, It's Isaiah 43:18-19. That's on there.
I love that.
If you have the liquid gold, it's Proverbs 20:15 on there.
Wow.
But because you talk so much about love, that's what made me say the Back to the Beaner is for you, because on Back to the Beaner, we have
John 3:16, the greatest love of all. What?
okay.
This
so
is awesome.
This is your gift to go home. So when you take
Thank
your
you
ride
so
today, as you go
much.
to reflect and reconnect and deal with the grief of your mom, just pour it in the bottle and have your couple of
Yes.
drinks while you're looking at the water. And
I
I want to
sure
say
will.
thank you so much for being a part and coming here to interview. It's absolutely a pleasure. I can't wait to see you in the movie. Can't wait to
Yes.
see you at the premiere.
Yes.
And let's not let this be the last time we get together.
Oh, it absolutely won't. And thank you. And make sure that you all check this out. I can't wait to be able to share testimony, because you know I'm going to be drinking and I'm all about being healthy. And thank you so much.
You're
thank
welcome.
you. It's an honor.
Let's get some sugar, baby.
Well, guys, that interview with Darlene Brown was absolutely amazing. As always, we thank you for hanging with your girl Tasha. And until the next time, remember my favorite word, BAM!